All right, good afternoon, cyber traders. Welcome on back here this Thursday afternoon, November 3rd, shortly after 2:30 p.m. Eastern time. Great to see Scott still with us here, and Mark. Mark had a pretty nice morning, at least in pre-market, got nearly $5 a share on this one stock. Great to see Mark, great to see Michael, Andre, Steve, Dan, and all of us just still joining us here this afternoon. Great to see all of us back on social media, Facebook Live or YouTube as well. So, folks, a couple of housekeeping notes to begin, at least here. Not a whole lot, actually. I mean, if anything, perhaps just one. Market's making a nice bounce off the VWAP, if anything, but we'll talk more about the SPY, the S&P in a little bit. But I wanted to just make mention, we mentioned this from earlier this morning. Fausto did in the morning meeting, actually from about 24 hours ago, right? 24 hours ago, we were doing this afternoon meeting talking about the Fed reaction. And with that, I want to just mention we ended up posting a really nice video, just an analysis on just trading a large cap stock. In this case, we ended up using Shopify as a good example, just a stock that we've had our eyes on for a little while now. Just day to day is just a day trade, if anything, and swing trade too. But just it provides good volatility, trades good volume, and coming off the important Fed meeting just yesterday, where they ended up raising the interest rates 75 basis points, perhaps expected to some, but we ended up getting a really negative reaction after. So if you want to check that video out, you can. That's the most recently recorded, posted video on our YouTube channel. Just go right on youtube.com/cybertradingu. I'll take you right to our YouTube channel right here. And then otherwise, you could just view all of our different videos, including that most recent one I ended up posting from yesterday. So with that, run. This one's up pretty nicely here this afternoon. It's still sticking near the highs. Ended up making a really strong bounce just now. Nice beneficiary of the market, perhaps bouncing itself here. So the news out on run, I think it's just earnings. I wanted to just double check. Don't have to expedite this meeting, at least. No class this afternoon. Got a coaching call with one of my students, Roger. Look forward to meeting with him again. But right now, we can look up the news here. Run trading higher after the company reported better than expected Q3 EPS and sales results. End up making a nice move up just earlier this morning. But when the markets are pushing upward in general, not every stock is going to make as strong of a move with the S&P. Some may outperform it, some may underperform it. But simple to be said, you'd want to put more focus on a stock that's coming off of good news, that has more eyeballs on it, perhaps within our price range. And that's what this is. This is, under $30. Great. So run, we're going to put on our watch list right away to begin here. Sunrun. Now, what we'll do, hey, we can go through a couple of these others that ended up making a big move for us, at least earlier on this morning. VRAC sticks out to me, at least from pre-market. Unfortunately, that didn't do a whole lot afterwards. We'll recap a couple of these folks. We'll go from top to bottom, see what we can grab here. All right, the Huddy, H-U-D-I. I feel like the stock, I don't know if this is off like some reverse stock split or whatnot. I feel like we've traded the stock when it was like a $5, $4, $3 stock in the past. So, I don't know what's happened to this trade here. Ended up making a big squeeze early on today, probably super low float. One of those like gamble type of stocks. We're not in the business of that. So we'll keep moving forward here. NRDS, ooh, nice move up right now. Higher lows, beautiful chart. Liquidity could be a little bit better, but it could be a lot worse. So, we'll just check this out here. NRDS. I think Fausto may have mentioned this earlier this morning. NerdWallet. All right. Same with this as Sunrun. Better than expected Q3 EPS and sales results. We're in the middle of earnings season, right? So you're going to get that quite frequently right now, this week, and from the previous few weeks even. Probably kind of like right at the hump point, right over the hump perhaps on earnings season. But yeah, NRDS, it's a beautiful chart. Let me just check the historicals here just to see what's happening on that. I'll even just check the weekly to make sure. It looks like a relatively new IPO back from last year. A strong squeeze up thus far. Looks like we had some levels back from the end of last year into the beginning of this, roughly around that 1388, roughly around 14, maybe even you can call it like a 1430-ish. I see a few more bars kind of correlating towards like a 1430-ish, 1436, 1433. So it's not, terribly close there, meaning that there could be some potential to see this make a higher low from this point. Perhaps it could end up pulling back towards this last rounded top, roughly around that 1350, maybe 1355, for that to hold a support. And then from there, for that to rocket on up, perhaps towards that 1430-ish. This will snap up right there, but I'm not fully sold just yet on that. At least, hopefully there's more to come in terms of a rounded bottom, and then to see this make a nice pop back up. But yeah, NRDS we'll put on our watch list for right now. It's also shortable. I'm more focused on the trend up. You're going to get killed shorting a stock as it's like just trending up this beautifully, right? Because the opportunities are much thinner compared to the runs up if you're trying to short. So it's saying that, I mean, there is a place and a time, but you want to wait for that trend line to either get broken through for a stock to at least show lower highs and then a break below support. That's a lot different, but just because it's shortable here and up big doesn't mean it's going to drop. This is prime territory for this to pop higher over time. All right, that takes us to VRAX here. VRAX ended up making a pretty strong move earlier this morning, more pre-market. I was just using my wrong keyboard there. How about that? Try and zoom out. Yeah, I got two different computers, two different keyboards here going on. Ended up making a strong run after 8 o'clock. This was really like one of the trades of the entire day, if not the trade of the day. Took place in pre-market after 8 o'clock. Once the news came out on VRAX, ended up seeing it squeeze up nicely from 190. I mean, clean shot up towards 250 plus. That took place going into the open, but unfortunately, as you could see afterwards, ended up just kind of coiling up here. Like I'd said before, in terms of like a short trade, this one's hard to borrow. We weren't focused on a short on this thing, but lower highs, and then hasn't necessarily broken lower yet. So I feel like this thing's still kind of luring people in, teasing people, and waiting for this to try and make the move up. Then it's going to slam down lower. The good thing about this trade, should that be the case, is that it's not like really thinly traded. It's got a lot of volume on the bid here. Big order on the bid here at 226 for 20,000. I'm sure there's going to be a ton at like $2 should it really tank. I mean, that would be a nice dead cat bounce level, but not fully sold on putting this just on our main list just yet. It will be on our side list. Definitely tradable in the sense of liquidity, but I think it's made its move from earlier this morning. If it pops during this meeting, then we'll talk. All right, we'll keep it going. Proverb, PRVB, ended up making a nice run from the morning. So we ended up actually missing out on this trade. I don't think I'd call this one out from the morning session. Maybe Rich did afterwards when I was on a coaching call. Yeah, he was all over this one. It looks like at 10:29, saying Proverb was at the high of the day. So at that point, it looks like we are kind of like finished up with the run there. So ended up catching it roughly from that 850 level as he had called it out shortly afterwards. But I didn't really do a whole lot afterwards, unfortunately, for us since. So right now this thing's not doing too much. We're going to pass on it. Let's see what else we got. There's our run trade, up 21%. Vimeo, little pop from the morning. I saw that pop up on my feed, my Benzinga signals feed. Not a whole lot to that though after. AXSM, I mean, cheap stock, geez. Pretty expensive stock. Ended up making a nice run from this morning, at least from 50 up towards 60, near 10-point move. Actually over 10-point move, but yeah, just thin book. Got Zillow here. I know Fausto saw this one, or one of our students had called it out. It's been a little while since we ended up trading Zillow, I think. Ended up making a nice trend and move up from the morning session, but flattened out here. My scanner's just refreshed on me. This one, INFN. Interesting. My scanner kind of reloaded on me. I accidentally clicked on the stock. It's making a slow little move up right now. It's tradable. So with that, maybe I'll put this on the side. I'll come. Geez, I may have just gave this the kiss of death. Just shook right back down there, didn't it? All right. Well, I was going to say I was going to put this on our side list, not the main list, but yeah, Etsy, pretty expensive here. Probably coming off earnings up over 14% this morning. All right, we'll hop over to the loser side right now. Markets just haven't really gone much of anywhere this afternoon. They did bounce off the VWAP just a moment ago, taking us into this meeting. So that was a nice start for us so far, but not a whole lot that looks like name brand or anything else that really sticks out on the gainer side. I know Roku is trending back up, but that started off on the loser side. I think it's up or like down 1% right now, if anything. So maybe we'll check that out. A couple of other sideless stocks at the end. There's actually a lot on the losers list here that's down big and that's shortable on my platform. So, hopefully it's shortable on your platform as well if you're not on TradeStation. But for example, LNC, I mean, you tell me, this is a beautiful chart as a short, lower highs, ended up pulling back down to support roughly off that 35. Not as big of an order as you'd expect off 35, but it does have some pretty thin tiers out there. So, we'll call that support for right now, that 35 level. Looks like it's multi-year lows. Mm, 3250-ish, 3244 here. Low on this bar, 3375. That's pretty far away, both of those. So, this could have some room if this makes a stronger break below 35, but I'd still give it a little time, give it a little patience and a little test. Based off cyberclock rules, we still have a lot more time left before this can make its like real big move and break below that 35. So, even though there is thin volume on the book, I'd give it a little space at first. And even if it does blast below 35 without you, that's where you'd expect support to initially become resistance. So, just focus on this as a good short for right now. I mean, it's down a lot already, but it could be down more. I mean, hey, what's the ground floor here, folks? It's $35 stock. You tell me. We've seen stocks make some bigger moves, not just on an intraday basis, but, just percentage wise. So, you got to think of it the same way as like a stock coming off good news that's up like 12%. Oh, well, we've seen stocks up like 50, 100%. What the hell? So, why can't that make, a bigger drop off over time? It certainly can. So, AUPH going down the loser side right now. This is just flat. I kind of expected this. I didn't prep this chart up myself this morning. It was on my side list this morning personally when I was doing my scanning. We're really familiar with this stock over the many months and years that this stock has traded, really since like 2016, really, from what I remember. But as a long and a short, uh, it was down enough and liquid enough for me to be interested in it. But I had a weird inkling that it would just kind of just consolidate, not offer us as much. Granted, it did make a nice bounce going into the mid morning from that 510 you could see there, good for about 40 to 50 cents. Good day trade. But aside from that, really not a whole lot more to it. So thankfully, we could say that we didn't really focus on this as much. But maybe we'll check in on this tomorrow. Who knows? All right, we keep it going. ATUS also shortable and down like nearly 30%, down 28.5%. Recently making a bounce here from 440-ish, 439. You got the VWAP. I'd expect for that to be resistance there off 455. Big 18,000 share order on the S to complement it. This one's tradable. This one's tradable too. So, like the LNC, it has direction, right? Just from the mid morning to right now, even lower highs, and it tried to make that new low of the day and failed to do so. And, there's still some time, but right now, I don't mind giving this a little look. ATUS, either direction. I mean, for right now, we'll respect the downtrend, the set of lower highs it's been building. But if it ends up making higher lows and ends up popping resistance, perhaps there could be dead cat bounce potential to it. It's down enough, 28+%. So we'll see. TNDM, nice direction. All right, this thing ended up making a nice drop off from the mid morning into the early afternoon. Broke a new low just going into 2 o'clock. That's roughly off of what price is that? 36.61 there. Um, I mean, this one at this point has some thinner volume on the book for a more expensive trade. It's not as necessary for us to follow that type of stock. If it was cheaper, if it had a little bit better volume on the book, then I'd likely add it. Taking us into the end of the week, I wouldn't really want to follow a stock that's too thinly traded if we don't need to follow it. If it's up big and coming off good news, and it's like one of those like cheap biotechs, as long as it's not too low float and like too pop and dropish, I would definitely follow it. But for this stock, it's just opportunity cost. Yo. This might be a little too slow of a short, though, if anything. So flipping it the other way around might be just not worth it in the sense of just like might be too slow. Definitely what I'm looking for there in terms of liquidity. INVE trying to squeeze up a bit, but again, Not really worth it here. All right, let's see if there's anything else, folks. Anything else? I mean, hey, number 50 is down like damn near 12%. So there's a lot more that's down big. Type it in the chat board right now, folks, if there's anything else that looks good as a long, as a short, either direction. Don't want to force any trades out there, but definitely this is where we need to work together as a team. Mark with that FIS stock. FIS. Mark, was that the one from earlier this morning? I think it could have been. That's the one where he had that 4.5 point short. This is no. Which one was that, Mark? Just really quickly. This doesn't look half bad, though. Good call out on the short. It's just, again, same to be said here as I just said on like the other one, though, for a more expensive trade. If it was more liquid, then I'd be all about it. He says, yeah, that was the DDOG. That was like pretty thinly traded in pre-market too. So I'm happy you pulled that off. Ended up making a beautiful drop early this morning in pre-market, but afterwards shook back up. And Andre, oh yeah, that's right, Peloton. Geez, how could I forget Peloton out of all stocks, right? So Peloton ended up making a really strong move from this morning. It was down big on the percent losers list, ended up completely flipping script and going up. Ended up now up over like 3.5%, near 4% right now. Got a 30,000 share order on the ESC, sitting 2 cents above the high at 910. So be mindful of that as resistance. So yeah, great heads up again, Andre. I would have probably have added this to our list at the end of the meeting after I finished up once I realized I forgot about it. So how about that? For all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, that's why you got to join us inside our live trading room for Andre's call outs and Mark and all of us otherwise. That's how we look to work together as a team there. As a bonehead and forgot about Peloton. So yeah, Peloton we're going to put back on our list. Good call. All right. So we got Peloton, Run. We'll call it Nerds, NRDS, LNC, ATUS. And that's it so far. Not a bad list so far here heading into the close. If there's anything else for all of us on social media, type it in the chat board here. Definitely let me know. Got a little shout on Carvana right now. CVNA. It's up over 8%, and it's at the highs. Yeah, this looks good. This looks really nice. Wow. All right. I'm surprised we missed out on this trade from earlier this morning. I mean, more from the morning than right now. But, at this point here, this can make a more explosive move from 3 o'clock onwards. So better now than ever. Mark says Carvana reports after the close. So normally with stocks that report after the market closes, you don't often see as much volatility prior. There's more hesitation. And then once the report comes out, then you see crazy move up, or maybe like right before the report comes out, the minute or two before, some like manipulative pop and drop, and then it goes the other way, right? The thing with Carvana, though, the reason why I think that this has the squeeze to it here is that this has been very heavily shorted. That's my belief. What I'll even do right now, I got a little time, Roger. I'll send you the coaching link in just a second, but I want to just check out the short float on Carvana here. Just double check, just see what's up here. 55.38% short of the float. Short percent of the float is 55.3%. So that is extremely big. That's a lot, folks. That's like AMC, GameStop, meme stock type of material. So, this could be an even more explosive trade heading into the open tomorrow morning, pre-market tomorrow, certainly after the close today. But I think there'll be more eyes on it probably into the close today, like from now onward, and then also pre-market tomorrow. Mike says, I think there are some rumors of Carvana getting merged or bought out. Ooh, well, if it's like a buyout candidate, then maybe some people want to jump in on that too. That could lead to some shorts potentially looking to cover there a little bit more. So maybe a little inside info perhaps. But either way, we're not trying to speculate as much. There's just a really good trend. Decent enough order book. We'll respect it. And we'll see if this could really begin to break this downtrend from the daily chart back from like, August, September, into now. So good ping there. We got ARAV right now. Otherwise, in Benzinga, this thing isn't doing a whole lot. I don't know why they gave me this. AFMD. I called this one out from earlier this morning. It made a nice pop at first, but then completely dudded out. Thankfully, this is actually making a strong push right now as we're talking. There we go. I flapped my gums long enough to where we ended up catching this in time. So AFMD, definitely more of a level 1 stock. I'll put this on our watch list. And folks, I think that's going to wrap things up. So for all of us on social media, Facebook Live, YouTube, I appreciate you folks sticking with me each and every day, each and every afternoon. If you're interested in joining our live trading room, just go right down to the link on the yellow banner below to sign up for a small trial. Otherwise, if you have any questions beforehand, and including the video I ended up posting on our YouTube account just from yesterday, again, we ended up presenting a nice analysis on how to follow large cap stocks in general. We ended up using Shopify as our case study, but ended up doing a sped up pre-recorded video and dubbed over some good analysis on it. A trade I ended up taking on this stock, and I gave you my raw, honest feedback on this position. This ended up dropping off as I was doing this very meeting yesterday, so I ended up missing out on the short position I was initially looking for, but I ended up getting my money's worth. It was a nice trade altogether. So if you want to watch that video, feel more than free to. That's one of our most previously recorded videos right on our YouTube channel, that being youtube.com/cybertradingyou. All right, folks, for all of us inside the live trading room, Grant, Mark, Michael, Roger, and Andre, and all of us just there live, I know that Rich will be on the mic from 3 to 3:30, and then you got a guest partner taking you going into the market close, folks. All right, I'll talk to you folks soon. Take care.
Become a Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just $9. Do it today.